So by putting this here, I kind of jumped ahead of myself a little bit. Well, yes and no, I guess. How many three-letter combinations can be picked there? I don't think I need to go through and do an example of every different thing, right? I mean, this question is exactly the same as what we just had. Try not to memorize types of questions or situations. Don't think of it as, oh, I know how to do the types of people, committees of people question, and I know how to do the letters in a word question. Think of it as a concept. For any one of these questions, you need to boil it down to, I'm choosing blank from blank, and do I care about the order? Am I making more than one choice? Am I, combining choices somehow? That's what you need to look at all these situations as, but don't think of it as, oh, the letters in a word question and this kind of question. I think in the past, some of you, maybe that's how you coped with, or how you did well at math was, well, here's the coins question, and here's this kind of question. Try and think of the concept involved here. It looks very similar, right? Here's letters in a word, but it's quite different in solving it. You need to put some other concepts with it here. This first one here says, if there must be exactly one vowel. So it bridges from that thing from the question we had before it, right? How many three-letter combinations? So number one, it says combinations here. So you need to decide, does that mean the order matters or not? It doesn't say. I would say if that word is there, what does that mean? Doesn't matter, right? Order doesn't matter if that word's in there. If there must be exactly one vowel. I think a mistake a lot of grade 12s make is they try to jump right away to all of this stuff right here, but they skip over this part. This is the grade 8 part of it. The younger kids part of it. The younger kids that don't know this is what they would do. They would just start writing them out and then say, oh man, it's way too hard. I can't do this. But don't skip that part of it. I think there's an advantage to actually writing out a couple of the things you want first. Don't try to jump to this because you're more likely to get it wrong then. What this does is you're not going to solve it that way, but it helps you understand the problem before you start trying to apply the concepts. Write a few of them out, right? Even highlight, the vowels, okay? If there must be one vowel, well, now I'm separating it into two groups. Up here, all I had was 7 letters. Here I have, how many vowels do I have? Let's highlight them. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, right? How many vowels do I have? 3 vowels. And what else? I'm separating them into 3 vowels and 4, let's just call them non-vowels. What's a good symbol for non-vowels? Consonants. You could use that. I want to introduce you to a symbol that they use in probability and combinatorics. Is if you're using V for vowels, you can use a V with a line across it to mean non-vowels. A line across the top means not whatever that symbol is being used for. If V is being used for vowels, this bar or line across the top means non-vowels. I know that seems dumb here because there's actually a word for non-vowels, consonants, but sometimes you're dealing with things like, you're talking about cards, hearts, and you could talk about non-hearts, as in all the other cards. You could just use a line across the top to say non-hearts, whatever. So that's a symbol I'm going to use here as we do this. I need a bit more space. I didn't really give you tons of space. I'm sure you're writing smaller than I am. But we're gonna work this out here. If there must be exactly one vowel, what's another way of saying that? I know this sounds kind of silly with the word exactly in there. Mathematicians use the word exactly just to avoid anything that's unclear. Does this word have a vowel in it? Does it have one vowel in it? Yeah, it has 2, right? But it has 1, right? I mean, it has at least 1, I guess. If you just say 1, if there must be one vowel in it, that's ambiguous. Does that have 1? Well, some people would say, yes, it does. Here's 1. If you use the word exactly one vowel, that means 1 and only 1, right? So then the answer is, does this have exactly one vowel? You sound like kind of an idiot talking like that in everyday language, right? Could I please buy exactly 1 cookie? someone's going to think you're a little nuts, right? If you use that to say that. But that's how you have to talk in math to make it specific here. So if there must be exactly one vowel, an example is what? What's an example here? Well, the one I had before, that has exactly one vowel. If it's combinations, we're not rearranging those letters. Another example is O-S-T, right? But more than one vowel. I'm telling you, just start with that. You're dividing it into one vowel and two other things, right? I would even write it with words here. You're choosing one vowel and two non-vowels. I realize some of those aren't words, but I know there's only so much writing we can do here, right? Before we get beyond our capacities. I think it helps to do this first. I can't tell you how many times I mark things, and all of this is skipped, and someone wants to jump right to the numbers. This is the hard part. The easy part's actually once you get the numbers, evaluating it. How do I think through this? I'm choosing one vowel. How many do I have to choose from? How many do I have to choose from? 3, right? And I'm choosing two non-vowels, and how many do I have to choose from? From 4. I want to choose one vowel from 3 where I do not care about the order. How would I work that out? What do I write with symbols here? Combinations. I'm choosing from 3 and I'm choosing 1. How many different ways is that? 3 ways, right? 3 objects, choose one of them. 3C1, anything C1 is easy for you to figure out. 10,073, choose 1. What is that? Without the calculator, what is that going to give you? What is it going to give you? 10,000. I know I said 10,000. I'm sorry. 1,073. That's why you're confused. 1,073. Choose 1. What is it? 1,073. Something NC1. What's that always going to be equal to? N, right? It's always equal to N. Anyways, that's a little sideline thing to understand. From 4, you're choosing 2. 4C2. What is that? That one's not so easy to see what it is, right? What is it? Well, you could work it out here, right? It's 4 factorial over 2 factorial, 2 factorial. You can go to your calculator. You'll find that it's 6. You can feel like trusting me on that if you want, or you can go to your calculator. Now, this is the difficult part in here. This in here. This and in between those. We found the number for the 2 non-vowels. We found the number for the vowel. But we don't know what to do with those 2 numbers. If you want to resort to the grade 8 rule, which is when in doubt, multiply the numbers. That's what grade 8s do. They multiply the numbers if they're not sure. Would you be right or wrong here? You'd be right, actually. Why would you be right? Because something you learned in the first tutorial here, fundamental counting principle. Fundamental counting principle, remember, it was if you can choose from 2 different sandwiches and 3 different drinks, right? If you get to choose a sandwich and a drink, right? Sandwich and a drink. How many different menus can you make there? If you get to choose 2 different sandwiches, as in A or B, and then 3 different ones here and 3 different ones there, you get 6, right? If it's the word and, if you're choosing both of them together, you multiply. If you're choosing this and this, which we are, you multiply those 2 numbers. Okay? This is going to signify that you multiply. Of course, you have to think about it. Don't just automatically, I see the word and, must mean multiply. Later on, we're going to use something different. But for now, if you're choosing them together, if there's 3 different ways to pick this and 6 different ways to pick this, there are 18 different ways to choose those things together. All right? Does that make any sense to you? I hope. I really hope it does. Now we're going to do part B here. Okay? But I'm going to stop this first, part B. Do you see that one involves that you're making more than one choice here? It isn't always going to be that it's always a single, calculation or single combination choice. You're making 2 different choices, and it wasn't told to you. You had to figure that out for yourself. you were told you're picking one vowel, but you weren't told you have to pick two others as well, right? Let's look at the